Unresolved problem segment tonight. Many Americans continue to despise we in the media. New Gallup poll asks, how much trust and confidence do you have in the mass media? 60% of Americans say not very much or none at all. 60%. 40% say a fair amount or a great deal of trust. Joining us now from Indianapolis, Jeff McCall teaches media studies at DePauw University. And from D.C., Paul Farhi, media reporter for the Washington Post. What's the source of the distrust of the national media, Mr. Farhi?
Well, it's several things, Bill. One is that we in the media, this is a news flash, make mistakes. And when we make mistakes, people notice and they remember, and they tar all of us with the same brush. When CNN reports that a suspect has been arrested in the Boston bombing case, people remember that we were wrong. When Fox News reports the Supreme Court decision on health care and gets it wrong, everyone remembers.
But let me stop you there, though. Those are just mistakes. I mean, they're mistakes made by human beings. And I disagree. I don't think people are going to loathe you unless you make a mistake every day. But if you make an honest mistake and then people come on and say, gee, you know, we got wrong information, we're sorry. I think it's got to be more than that, Professor. There's something that has changed from Cronkite and Howard K. Smith and Brinkley and Huntley and these guys who were almost revered by the population back in the 50s and 60s, and now we're loathed. What happened?
Well, it's a growing trend. I mean, in this Gallup survey, public confidence has dropped 15 points in just 15 years. So it's a growing problem, and it's something for us to be concerned about. I think the bottom line, frankly, is that the public perceives the media as biased, and it's hard to put a lot of trust in the media if you think they're biased and that they're representing
Why do they perceive the media? Okay, all right. I'm not going to argue with that.
I think there's a sense that they're representing the powerful in the government.
Why do they perceive it as biased? Why?
They perceive the media as biased, Bill, because the media is more biased than it's ever been. There is a niche for everyone's political persuasion. If you're conservative, you can find conservative media. If you're liberal, you can find liberal media. The mainstream media is somewhere in there, and if you are a partisan, you're going to perceive the mainstream media as not supporting your point of view.
But we're talking about the folks. When you have a 60-40 fleece, it's not the partisans. I mean, it's the folks. The folks say, look, you're suspicious to me. I don't think you're doing what you should do. I agree that there are partisan programs on the air, and they do appeal to people of a political persuasion. But nobody has to watch them. Nobody has to tune in. You're not imposed upon. You choose to watch. There's something else in play here, and I think I know what it is, but I'm going to give you another shot at it, Professor. You know, there is so-called bias. I mean, people say I'm biased, and I say baloney. I present the facts, and I give you my point of view in clearly labeled commentary. That's a legitimate journalistic tool. It's been used for hundreds of years by newspapers on their op-ed page. So give me a break. But there's something else, Professor. What do you think it is?
Well, commentary and analysis is fine, but I think a lot of the citizens think that the commentary analysis is also filtering into the straight news programming, and that the straight news people are not representing the interests of the public. And I find an interesting fact in this Gallup survey in that 15% of self-identified liberals also think the media is too liberal. And so I think most of the citizens think that the media leans left and that the reporting reflects that. And for serious news viewers and consumers, they think there's not enough news there or it's not straight enough, and they disengage and move on.
All right. You know what I think it is, Mr. Farhi? The media has gotten a lot nastier. They're mean guys now.
Well, there's a few ideologues on the air, aren't there?
Yes, and we attack people with whom we disagree. It's not just television people, it's newspaper people. Snarky, condescending, name callers, fanatical people.
Bill, you know, there's your media and my media, and then there's the media. When surveys ask about the media, they're not being very specific. If I ask you about your school, you love your school. Maybe you don't like the other guy's school. It's the same way with the media. Your viewers love you, Bill. They trust you. The other guys, not so great. And that's the way people perceive the media as a generic concept, not as a specific one.
But the tipping point happened when the meanness came in. All right? That's when the tipping point happened for the regular folks. They went, you know what? I don't want to hear people called names on television. Even if I don't like President Obama, I don't want to hear him called horrible names.
Right.
And I don't like the media that's doing it. I think that's what the tipping point is. I'm going to give Professor McCall last word. Go.
Well, I think we need to think about the lack of trust in the media as being very bad for our democracy, because citizens need information. They need to get it from the media. The First Amendment was set up to create a media that served as a surrogate role for the public, and if the public's not engaged and they move on and they're not consuming news and they're only getting news from Facebook or about pop culture or things like that, it's really a disservice, and it hurts our democracy a lot.
So I agree 100% with that statement. Thanks, you guys, for coming on. We appreciate it. Plenty more as the factor moves along this evening. Do American women see the ISIS terror threat differently than American men? Megyn Kelly and Laura Ingraham will address that question. And next, our mad as hell segment.
Oh, Godfather, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. You can act like a man! What's the matter with you?
I think Don Corleone's a little upset. We hope you stay tuned for those reports.